Welcome to Something More to Podcast, where we move through topics where the conversation takes us. I'm your host, Richard Collins.
And I'm Adam Culbertson. Had our first request to talk about something, and there was a list of TV shows that they wanted us to talk about, but one of them that we were already watching, you already watched all first two seasons, and
all three.
Oh, there's 3 seasons. Okay,
like as I was getting caught up was when the 3rd season was airing.
Oh, okay, and that's not on Netflix yet.
I don't believe so, no.
But it's The Good Place. Now, we talked about it before, like you were telling me about it, and I thought it was, I avoided watching it because I figured it was going to be really preachy.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, because I mean I was the same way before I started watching.
I mean, the commercials didn't really give you anything else other than they were in the good place, and
it just seemed like it was going to be like, I don't know, like City of Angels, maybe slightly humorous or something, but it's like it seemed like it was going to be very heavily religious.
Yeah.
And I kind of steered a little away from it because of that. But it is very much not. They actually do a really good job of not really committing to any one like religion or philosophy. And it really kind of skirts that whole issue. And I mean, it's really more about moral philosophy than it is about religion.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of really good basis. Like they have a lot of like, you know, actual discussion by way of one of the characters, about various different moral, philosophies, moral philosophers and, their takes on what is good, what is bad. You know, so it's definitely very interesting. It could be very informative. And it is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Like it is one of the funniest shows that I've watched in a long time.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like one of the things in the trailers that they did, it was like, oh, well, it's going to be funny because they can't cuss and they say fork instead of fuck and stuff like that. Like, what the fork?
Yeah, they have like their own version of cursing that's like not quite cursing,
but
you can still very much tell what she's trying to say.
Yeah, I died laughing whenever I saw the part where it's like, so the religion was right and there is an afterlife and everything and he's like, and Ted Danson, he's hilarious. I've loved Ted Danson since Cheers.
But Ted Danson is amazing in the show.
But he's like, well, every religion got about 5% right.
About 5%.
And there's a picture on the wall of this dude, and it's like a picture, like very 1960s.
I think Doug Forsett.
Yeah, Doug Forsett. He got about 93% right.
Yeah.
Him and his buddy did a bunch of mushrooms, and his friend asked him, so what do you think the afterlife is like? And he just went on a rant and he got most of it right.
It was amazing.
I love that guy.
But yeah, like it's quite an incredible show. It's really well done. It's not preachy at all. Like
no, not at all.
It doesn't really adhere to any religion. And you know, if anything, it kind of treats religion equally.
Yeah.
Like not necessarily wrong, but not necessarily right either. And you know, it's one of those things that I found myself really getting engrossed in the show, like way more than I ever thought I would.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Like it is hilarious and at the same time riveting.
Yeah. Oh man.
But yeah, I actually found out about it because of a speedrunner / streamer that I watch at times, Grand Pooh Bear.
Yeah, okay.
Like he had just, you know, somebody had asked him like on one of his streams like about his favorite shows. And, he was just like Bardon, like Good Place is like my favorite show on right now.
Nice.
I was like, maybe I should actually check it out. Like,
yeah. And it was a good transition because I watched the pilot like back whenever you first told me about it. And I liked it then, but just didn't find the time to watch it all. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I was watching something else at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt like it was a good transition for me from The Tick.
Right.
From binging The Tick and then going into The Good Place. It is just it's different, but it's just as funny.
Mm-hmm. Although still, favorite character on that show is Janet.
Yeah, Janet. She's the AI of the afterlife, and even the angels, quote unquote. Like, I don't know if they're actually angels or demons or
I think whatever. At some point they kind of give a brief explanation saying that it's just easier to kind of think of them that way.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of like the way that religions have painted them.
Yeah.
But it's like not exactly like what you would think.
Yeah. Well, he's the architect. Ted Danson, his character's Michael, and he's the architect. He built the world, the good place that those specific people are in.
Yeah. Like they tailor communities because it's easier to make everybody happy in a smaller community than at large.
Yeah, and there's freaking frozen yogurt shops everywhere.
Froyo everywhere.
Everybody loves frozen yogurt.
But yeah, it's
But things start going bad because the main character, or at least it really only follows one character at the beginning.
Right.
And Eleanor, she's, if anybody's seen, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, she's Sarah Marshall.
It's, Kristen Bell.
Yeah, Kristen Bell.
Who was also the voice of Anna in Frozen.
Oh, okay. But she, I knew, like, I remember her as Sarah Marshall from Forgetting Sarah Marshall because that movie's like one of my favorites. It's like, I'm doing a handstand, motherfucker.
But yeah, so I guess the basic gist of the plot is that she keeps getting told about all these great things that she's done in life and how everybody's like a huge fan because, oh man, like you're such a philanthropist and like, always going out and doing things for others. And I mean, like you're like a lawyer for like the impoverished that just always works pro bono. And it's like, you're such a good person.
Yeah.
And she's like, none of that. Like she was just kind of like a sad, lonely, hateful person in Arizona.
Yeah. They made a mistake.
And so, because she's there and she's not supposed to be there, things start going awry.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. I definitely want to watch it more because like there's so many like just funny quotes from it.
Oh yeah, there really are. I mean, it is absolutely a great show. Absolutely worth watching. Like highly recommend it.
Yeah. And there's a huge twist at the end of season 1 that like if you've watched it, like I kind of saw it coming in a way.
They're little bits and pieces.
Well, I mean, they're okay. So, what's the guy's name? Not Jason or Genial.
You mean Chidi?
Chidi, yes, Chidi. He like you can tell he's being tortured through the whole thing, but it's being done in a way that's trying to help him. But like ultimately, like he is just suffering the whole time, and you think that it's Eleanor is the one that's doing it, because of her being there, like it being a mistake that she's there, or she thinks that it's a mistake that she's there, and everything, and like Ted Danson is Michael, like he just plays it off so good, like he's such a good guy through the whole thing, and he everything that he's like, I'm trying to make you better, like trying to help you out. You got to be able to make a decision. He just gets really frustrated too, and he's just like he's like your indecision is causing me problems. This is a headache. I've never felt a headache before.
But yeah, absolutely brilliant show. Like it's hilarious. It feels really well written. Like the characters feel genuine. Like they feel like, normal actual people.
Yeah.
But there's 2 seasons that are out on Netflix currently. The 3rd season aired like earlier this year, but I don't think it's currently on any streaming. It might be on Hulu. I'm not sure.
You know what? It was on Hulu, but I don't know. I'll have to look again because I remember seeing it on Hulu. I actually watched the pilot on Hulu, I think, a while ago. But when I saw that it was on Netflix, I didn't see it on Hulu anymore.
Right.
So it might have got taken off, but hopefully the new episodes
possible.
are on there.
It's possible. And, it's been a few months since the 3rd season ended.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a chance it'll only be a few more months before it maybe pops up on Netflix with the other 2 seasons.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Should we say what happens at the end of season 1? Because that's as far as I've gone.
I don't know. Like, I don't... Like, that for me was like...
Yeah, if you've never watched that, it is a shocker. It does leave a cliffhanger that makes you want to watch the 2nd season.
Yeah. I mean, it does a really good job of kind of keeping tension high.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked it. I liked the change, and I'm excited to see what happens. I'm only a couple episodes into the 2nd season, and
oh man, does it get good?
Yeah, it's already chaotic.
And I like there's a few other like somewhat big names that pop up like throughout the show too, like other actors and such.
Oh really?
Mm-hmm.
Is that later?
You haven't. It probably will be later than what you've seen.
Okay, because I don't think there's been any. Oh well, no, there was dude from Parks and Rec,
Adam Scott.
Yeah, Adam Scott. He comes in.
Yeah,
he comes in from The Bad Place. There was something. There was something that he said that goes back to the beginning of the season. So during the orientation on the big screen, they talk about the point system, how you either gain and lose points, and there's all kinds of examples on it. And in the right hand corner, it says every time you tell a girl that she should smile more, and it had like -5 points. And then when Adam Scott gets off the train, he tells Eleanor she should smile more.
That's it. I mean, it's well thought out. Like, it's well written.
Yeah.
Another one that pops up a good deal later, Maya Rudolph comes in for a bit.
Oh, yeah.
And I gotta say, like, I've liked Maya Rudolph for a long time.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I know of her from when she was on SNL, was when I first found out about her.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like her in general.
Yeah.
Although, interestingly, there's actually a movie that I kind of ran across. I haven't watched it yet, but I noticed that it's on Netflix, and I am undoubtedly going to watch it at some point because it's got Amy Poehler in it. It's got Tina Fey, like it's got Maya Rudolph, like it's got Anna Gasteyer. Like if you remember from like old school SNL, well, old school to us, like 90s SNL.
Yeah.
But it's called Wine Country.
That's like promoted beside each episode of The Good Place. Like
really?
I've seen that.
But yeah, like anything to do with Tina Fey, I am on board.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Like I absolutely love Tina Fey. Like everything she does.
Yeah. And most things that come from Saturday Night Live cast.
Yeah.
Like not all things, but most things that they do outside of SNL after they leave and everything is usually pretty good.
It's also got Rachel Dratch, who you don't really see a whole lot.
Huh.
I mean, she was kind of like a minor cast member of SNL for a long time.
Yeah.
But like you don't really see her a whole lot outside of maybe like small parts, maybe in shows like with some of the other Saturday Night Live alums.
Okay.
But she's very funny as well. Like she's the one that did Ross Perot for a while on SNL.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, definitely something that I'm going to be checking out.
Yeah, I think I definitely want to watch Lucifer.
Mm-hmm.
I've only heard good things about it.
Yeah.
And I started watching X-Files again. I think I've watched it multiple times because I watched it when I was a kid. I watched it like a handful of years ago, and now I'm watching it again. I love the X-Files.
Right.
And with me getting into world building for the D&D podcast,
yeah,
it is gonna have a fantasy X-Files kind of feel to it.
Yeah,
in a way.
In a way, like it's
inspired,
kind of, like in investigating the paranormal, kind of deal.
Yeah, but with magic and all kinds of fantasy races and beings and
right,
as well as the eldritch stuff.
Yeah,
and I will say this, that I don't like Lovecraft as a person. He was a racist motherfucker.
A lot more at that time,
and even some of his
very different age.
Oh yeah, very different age. And even some of the stuff that he wrote was kind of racist. But most of his stuff had nothing to do with it, and I like that stuff.
Right.
But I will put that out there.
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
Not a good person.
Don't agree with the person. I like his writing. And most people do. Like if they do like his writing, they don't necessarily like him.
Right. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of good stuff there that I think could really make for some good tabletop storytelling.
Oh yeah. Like it's hard not to talk about some of the things that I've come up with for this this campaign, and while in the game we won't be depicting, and I said this last week, we won't be depicting mental illness with all this stuff. Now I will be using my experiences with hallucinations and delusions and stuff like that to create psychological suspense and stuff like that.
Right. And I think when it comes down to it, it's kind of the distinction between mental illness and like a kind of insanity inflicted on, like, I mean, an otherworldly kind of insanity inflicted upon you.
Yeah. I think we said like fear is causing the insanity and madness, not a mental illness.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of obsessed with world building right now, and to the point that even last night I was dreaming about world building on World Anvil, and I woke up and I didn't remember anything that I did. And I was like, shit, I accomplished so much.
I got so far.
but it's nothing. There's nothing there.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. But we do have at least 3 players now. We might have more. If you listen to Anonymous on there, she's going to be playing with us. She will be the only person that won't be in the room.
Right.
'Cause she's like hundreds of miles away.
just a little bit far to just pop over and play.
Yeah. Other country, everything. But we've made friends with her. I think she said last week on her podcast that we're her brother podcast. She's our sister podcast.
Okay.
And then she's going to be joining us on the D&D podcast. So now I am working on getting the logo done. I was actually talking to the guy before you showed up today.
Oh yeah.
And it's going to be a little bit more than like what we spent for the logo for this. But I really wanted a good custom logo that really stands out, but it's also like recognizable already.
Right. And kind of suits the feel of what's happening.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this being really casual, it makes sense to have like a pretty stripped down, simplistic kind of logo like we do.
Mm-hmm.
But for something like that, it wouldn't really mesh well with what we're actually doing.
Yeah. And but yeah, I'm gonna be finalizing that today. So, and then I want to start doing the social media campaign, I guess, for going ahead and building up a starting base of followers that want to listen to a actual play D&D podcast that's set in a Cthulhu mythos kind of world.
Yeah.
A less lighter topic.
Less lighter.
But very, very, very fresh in the news and everything is all these freaking abortion laws. Alabama now. Yeah. Like, it was Georgia, last week or the week before. And now it's Alabama. And they're like saying that doctors can get freaking 90 years or something for doing abortions. Like, freaking, that's more than a life sentence. That's 2 life sentences.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, especially because by the time they're doing the abortions, like, they're definitely, on in years.
Yeah. What a life sentence is, 40 years?
Something like that. I'm not sure.
And they're talking about like 90? Like, that's more than 2. Like, come on. Like, makes no sense to me. But what is scary is that there is no amendment for women who have been raped.
Yeah, and that's ridiculous.
And conceived from being raped. They can't get an abortion. And if you cross state line and do it somewhere else, you can be charged. You can be put in prison. You still have to give, if they catch you before you get it done or whatever, like, I don't know if they can prove that you were going to do it or not, but shit, like, you go and get rid of this thing that is a reminder of the horrible thing that happened to you, and you go to prison for it.
Yeah.
Oh, but like these fucking lawmakers and senators that are against the choice. Like, one of them didn't even know what a tampon was. He had the tampon machine removed from the building.
What?
Because he thought that the tampons were a sex toy. And it took his secretary or his assistant or something like that to explain to him what a tampon was and how the menstruation cycle works.
Like,
these are the people fucking making laws.
Like, they're completely unqualified. Like, that, well, I mean, aside from being basic sex ed, like, something that everybody's supposed to be learning, like, from an early age.
Oh, but
like,
these same people are against sex education, against teaching people how to have safe sex. That they promote abstinence, and it's been proven that it doesn't work that way.
It doesn't.
It leads to more pregnancies, more teen pregnancies, more abortions, and if they just
and wider spread STDs.
Yep.
And STIs, or whatever they're trying to call it right now.
Yeah.
But it's like, I mean, like, it is absolutely not reasonable to teach abstinence only.
Yeah.
Like, it does not work.
Yeah. But I mean, and everybody's saying this and everything, and this isn't the first time that anybody's saying this and all, but like, these Republican daughters and everything that are getting pregnant, and like these lawmakers and everything, like, they get pregnant, they'll make sure they get an abortion.
Oh yeah, no, couldn't have like any kind of bad thing happen to the family name. Like,
yeah, because they gotta wait till they get to their Bible college that daddy gets them into, so they can meet their master. I mean, husband.
I don't know. Like, you might have had it right the first time, at least in their minds.
But yeah, in their the way they see it, like, What the fuck? Because to them, like, a woman doesn't have any choice over their own body.
Which is ridiculous. A woman is a person, same as any man.
Yeah. I don't know. It makes me angry. And like, we're not far away from, like, Georgia and Alabama. Like, we are in the Bible Belt.
Yeah.
The Bible Belt is doing all this fucked up shit. And I don't know.
Well, and it once again is, it's people trying to impose their religion on other people. And I'm not even saying that this is necessarily a religious decision, but to them it is.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, how do you mesh those ideas? It's like, well, the Ten Commandments say that thou shalt not kill, so you shouldn't be killing the unborn, but like, it's totally fine for us to have capital punishment.
Yeah.
Like, how does that mesh? Like,
yeah. And it's just black and white to them as far as abortions go. Like, abortion, wrong. Anything to get rid of the baby. Hell, fucking women have been put in jail for falling down the stairs at their house and miscarrying. Saying that it was done to get rid of the baby.
I mean, that's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I've been seeing all kinds of fucking, like, news stuff about stuff that's happened in the past and everything. And I mean, people need to be putting that information out there because we got ignorant ass fucking people making laws. You know, we need to vote those motherfuckers out. The sad thing is a lot of people in the Bible Belt are fucking keeping them in there.
You know, and I'm not really going to say like what's necessarily right or wrong here, but like, think about this as well. Like, a lot of the people that push for like pro-life and like no abortions at all under any circumstances are a lot of the same people that are really avid on like guns, like the right to own guns.
Yeah.
Now, and again, I'm not saying what's right or wrong on like the whole gun control issue, but like, if you're so big on the whole thou shalt not kill thing, what is the point of you ever having a gun?
Yeah. If that, turn the other fucking cheek, motherfucker.
Because last I checked, there was no clause in the Ten Commandments that was like, oh yes, but it's okay if it's self-defense.
Yeah, for real. And I mean, like, you look at the Bible, you look at the New Testament, say, oh, well, that was the Old Testament, blah, 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 because, I mean, it's situational, of course.
Right.
But the New Testament, I mean, Jesus said, turn the other cheek.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if they strike you, turn the other cheek so they can hit the other side. Because you don't need to retaliate against them. You don't need to defend yourself. Like, you don't need to attack them.
But it's like, I mean, all I'm trying to get at is you can't have it both ways.
No.
You can't just universally say that killing is bad in all cases and then like turn around and still talk about like trying to defend your home with a gun to try and like kill whoever's coming after you, or even shoot at them, which may or may not kill them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what happened to Jesus saying turn the other cheek? You know, like what happened to that?
It's like why do we have such an insanely overblown military if we're so concerned about not killing people?
Yeah, we're fucking killing people every day. Hell, like one of our FC mates in Final Fantasy 14, he had to tell a family that somebody passed away.
Mm-hmm.
Where he's stationed and everything, and I don't even think there's any fighting going on over there like that. I think it was a training exercise. That's a guess, just from my personal experience in the military.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we got our own people dying over there for no fucking reason when they should be home. We don't need to police the world. Like, we need to police we don't need to police ourselves. We need to fucking just, like, focus on us as far as, like, that goes. Like, yes, we need to all, like, globally, like, conservation stuff like globally, but we don't need to fucking have a military base in every fucking country.
Well, it's like Jesus said, turn the other cheek so you don't get blinded when the nuke hits.
Yeah. 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 Oh, man. But, I mean, to me, this has been obvious for a while now. But with this abortion stuff coming up, alongside the gun stuff and pushing for gun rights and everything, or trying to keep regulations from getting involved and everything. It's all about money.
Oh yeah.
It's just all about money. It's all about these people staying in power so the NRA can make money, so the freaking pharmaceutical fucking hospitals, that whole thing, so they can make money.
Yeah.
Because a baby, that's a shit ton of money to give birth.
Oh yeah.
It's a shit ton of money to fucking take care of a baby, go to all your hospital visits, everything like that.
I don't know if this is accurate or not, but I think I'd read somewhere that it's like raising a child, when it's all said and done across the course of their childhood up until they're independent, is like $1 million.
Yeah. That's more than a fucking house. Like for somebody like us,
Mm-hmm.
like we're not rich. We're not even close.
Oh no. Nowhere near.
And like we can't even possibly dream of ever having $1 million house. Like,
I tell you this,
if somebody doesn't have
if I
the
got
means
$1 million,
for
it wouldn't all go into a house.
Yeah, yeah. And
that's a luxury I definitely can't afford.
Yeah, but like a lot of people, not a lot, but people have $1 million houses, multi-million-dollar houses.
Although that being said, there's also some areas like San Francisco where $1 million house is just kind of like, a place to live.
Probably this house.
Like this house would probably be even more.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm not sure what the actual going rate is, but like, I mean, $1 million house in San Francisco is like nothing.
Yeah. I mean, we are pretty lucky that we live in an area that the cost of living is one of the lowest in the country, I think.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely pretty low.
At least everywhere I've lived, like, it's pretty low here.
But it just kind of comes back to something we've said a number of times before. Like, this is why you can't just have like completely countrywide sweeping, like economic policy.
Oh yeah.
Because it's not the same everywhere. Like, people actually need more income in areas like San Francisco than they need here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, just to be able to live. And as time goes on, like that whole San Francisco thing, it's spreading further and further out from there.
Yeah, it is.
Like it's not just like concentrated in like one small area. It's not like, and it's not like you can just be like, oh, well, no, if it's too expensive, you just need to move.
Yeah.
Like that's not always an option.
No. I mean, a lot of people, like, they move and things don't work out, and then they're jobless, they're home, and then leads to them being homeless.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's not like all of these families even like decided, oh, well, let's move to San Francisco. I think that'll be a good idea. Like, they've already been there. They've been there for generations.
Yeah.
And they're now getting priced out of the place they've always lived.
Yeah. Yeah. And I knew some homeless people down in Georgia when I lived there. And I mean, they in Columbus, Georgia, near Fort Benning, like in Phoenix City across the river. Like there's homeless people that live underneath the city. Yeah. Like there's a homeless city basically underneath. And in caves and like sewer system and everything. It's pretty crazy. But I knew some of the homeless people there, and I was like, well, why don't you go to the homeless shelter? one woman was like, well, why don't you go to the battered women's shelter?
Yeah.
And or battered women shelter or whatever it's called.
Right.
They're like, well, you have to go to church service. And like that's a big deterrent for some people.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole no alcohol, no drugs and everything like that. That I understand that.
Right.
Like you need to be sober if you want to get back on your feet.
And that does make sense, yeah.
But the whole church thing, like that rubs me the wrong way.
There's
too.
a lot of factors because it's not even just about a religion thing, but it's like some people like they have extreme like social anxieties and like just requiring them. It's like, no, you have to go out in public.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like I don't think people even understand the kind of thing they're asking from some of these people.
Yeah. And some people they just they do not want to be a part of society.
Right.
And I honestly I don't blame them. I had one point, and this was during me having schizophrenia. Like I was seriously, yeah, it was while I was living here. Mm-hmm. I was seriously considering just going homeless,
right?
Like just living off the grid and everything, and like I'm glad I didn't,
right?
But I was serious. Well. I was seriously considering it. Just because of my social anxiety and everything like that. And mm-hmm. I mean, I do get, disability and everything. And I would have been able to like at least buy myself food.
Right. And you know, if you really think about it, like it kind of goes against like what should be anyway, the Christian ideal to say, well, I will help you out, but only if you go to church.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that was never the point. Like,
yeah, for real.
The point was to help other people because they need it. Not like require them to be part of your religion before you'll help them.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that all people that are religious are like that.
No, and not all are.
It's the case. Like you hear about it a lot.
Well,
I've encountered it, but I don't know if everybody else has heard about it a lot. But yeah, I mean, it's happening.
And like I said, not everybody is that way, but policies like that kind of fly in the face of what the entire point is.
Yeah, yeah. What got me to stop going to church, and this was years before I decided that I don't believe the Bible and everything. And this was before I even read the Bible myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like the people that were higher up in the church were the people that were gossiping, the people that were basically just trying to show off their stature. And,
oh man, you want to talk about like gossip? Like yeah. You go to like a rural church. Like,
oh yeah. Yeah. Hell, one of my managers, when I was in the corporate world, she was a friend of the family and longtime member of the church and everything. And like, I went to her in confidence for something.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, hey, like, I don't know if something's going on or not, but like everybody seems to like have something out for me. Like everybody's like trying to get me in trouble or something and like trying to get me fired. Cause there was a handful of people that were like really like trying to throw me under the bus a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know what she did? She fucking called the person that I mentioned into the office and told her what I said. And then I get hounded by all of them, plus more people about, going and snitching. And I'm like, look, I'm just trying to look out for myself. I don't have anything against y'all, and I don't understand why you have something against me. And then we ended up becoming friends and everything, and nobody trusted our manager at that point because she fucking did that.
And, you know, I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, Like if you really look into the Bible and the teachings and everything, like Jesus was never for having a church.
Yeah.
Or like a place of worship.
Yeah.
Like, and I forget the exact quote, but it's something along the lines of like, wherever like, 2 or more people are gathered in my name, like I'll be there.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's so contradictory to the entire idea of, what was at the time a synagogue.
Yeah. And that's why I stopped going to church, because I was like, I don't have to go to church to worship. Because it says in the Bible that it takes just 2 or more people.
And that's the thing. Like, being faithful, being part of the religion has nothing to do with going to church every Sunday.
And paying tithes and everything.
Like, it's about the way that you act and behave. It's about the way that you believe. Like,
yeah.
But everybody thinks that it's about, showing off and peacocking your way through Sunday to show off like how good you have it or whatever. And
yeah.
And not to say that everybody is like that, but I mean, there's so many people, it seems, that say that they're good Christians and everything, but I mean, when it's all said and done, I mean, it's no different than any other social action.
Yeah.
It's no different than any other like social event. Like they're still like dressing up and everything. And I'm pretty sure that God never cared what you dressed like.
Gotta wear your pearls.
Like, I'm pretty sure you're not really dressing up for God. I'm pretty sure you're dressing up for whatever that everybody else thinks. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's just...
And like these mega churches that pull in like this insane amount of money. What the new one is Evolution. Mm-hmm. Is that no Elevation. Yeah. They're probably cursing me for fucking saying evolution.
Evolution is fake.
Yeah, that fake evolution. But like that's a new one that's really popped up in the Charlotte area and surrounding areas.
Yeah.
And like it's so bad. Like this dude like started this church like within like the last like 5 or 6 years, something like that.
It might be a little longer than
Maybe
that.
Maybe a little longer than that.
I'm pretty sure it started within the last 10.
Like this dude has a fucking mansion, like straight up mansion.
It's insane.
It's paid for. He's even got his own fucking jet. Like what? Like, he needs a jet to fucking preach?
Like nobody that is supposedly supposed to be like, preaching, like furthering their religion or anything, like nobody needs that much.
No.
I mean, even just normal people, nobody really needs that much. That's exorbitant.
Yeah.
And I mean, why I totally believe in the wealth tax.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I've never been to a service, and I never will.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, if it goes along the lines with I've been to a mega church before, and all they played was Creed, and pushed it off as Christian music.
Well, the funny thing about Creed is, like, they affirmed themselves like as a Christian band. Like Scott Stapp like was very Christian for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that he tried pushing the idea that like all of his music was like religiously charged. Yeah. But I'm not so sure about that.
Now another one, Hoobastank.
Hoobastank.
I'm not a perfect person. You know that song? Yeah. I don't remember the name of it, but that's like
The Reason.
The Reason, yeah. Like they pushed that off as a Christian song. And everything. And it's just funny. They gotta get the teens in. Gotta get them teens.
Yeah.
Extreme Teen Bible. But like one of the things that they preached about was like, oh, the meek shall inherit the earth and all that kind of stuff. Well, you're telling that to people when you have a mansion and a fucking jet?
Yeah.
Like, who are you to fucking say that shit? Like it's to control the masses.
Yeah.
And then back to the abortion.
Mm-hmm.
It's to keep people in poverty.
And no doubt that's at least some of the people's motivations. Some of them, I think it really is just like a blind, almost hypocritical like belief of like, oh, well, you shouldn't be killing anybody, especially not unborn babies.
And see, I think that the people that are voting for these lawmakers are the ones that have the good intentions in their beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's fucking backwards ass thinking, but it's they believe that they have good intentions because of their religious beliefs. Mm-hmm. But the people that are the lawmakers, I highly doubt that they give a shit.
Yeah. Well, and at a certain point, like you're valuing your own personal beliefs over someone else's like life, someone else's like ability to live their own life, to make their own choices.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying it's like, oh, just be a slut, go get pregnant, whatever, just abort it whenever you want. Like, wait until the last day if you want. Yeah. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah, and the people that are fighting for pro-choice are not saying that either. They're not like, right. Oh, I just want to fucking go fuck and
just want to go kill some babies.
Yeah.
No, but it's about like having the option if there is a reason, like, you know, if for some reason you don't feel like you would be able to take care of a child, or like if in cases of like rape, in cases of like actual medical danger to the mother, like there needs to be some kind of an option.
Yeah.
And when I say like, you know, oh, I don't think I'd be able to take care of a child, I'm talking about, again, like early decisions, not like waiting until like the last trimester before thinking, oh, well, maybe I won't be able to handle a baby. And when it comes down to it, like, cause you hear the adoption argument. And I don't have any statistics particularly, but everything I've heard for a long time, and to like little bits of things that I know, like that whole system is overfilled.
Yeah, it's like, overfilled because they make it expensive for somebody to adopt. It's cheaper to adopt a baby from another country than it is to adopt a baby in our own country.
That's insane.
Like insane difference in price.
But I mean, it's just...
And the people that have the money to be able to afford to adopt kids here in this country are adopting kids. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I mean, it's good to adopt kids from anywhere they are.
Right. But to just say, oh, well, it's fine, we can just put the kids up for adoption. I mean, you know, there's still a pretty good chance that they're not going to have like a steady home. Like they're probably going to be in and out of foster care.
Yeah. The best option for them is to hopefully have a foster home that is actually a good place for them, and they can actually stay there for as long as they need to.
But in a way, like by overcrowding a system like that, you're not only like deteriorating the quality of life for the child that had to be born anyway, no matter the circumstances.
Yeah.
And you're possibly deteriorating the quality of life for kids who are already going to be in that system anyway, maybe even due to other circumstances.
Yeah. 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 We have an orphan problem. We have a homeless problem. We have people starving. And
but of course,
we need more people.
These people's moral compass and like what they think is right for other people is more important than all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And these are probably the same people that see somebody homeless and just instantly assume every single one of them is going to go spend money on drugs.
Oh yeah, probably so.
Or alcohol.
And while that may be true of some of them, it's not going to be true of all of them.
No. And it comes back to that. You're supposed to help people. Mm-hmm. And there are people that take advantage of good people.
There are. There are definitely people that take advantage of good people, but that doesn't mean you should never help anyone. You know, and while we're on, like, I guess, social outrage of sorts, some of the recent, and I guess I say recent, but it's kind of been over the past handful of years, some of the, like, policy changes concerning, like, well, I guess in a way, both same-sex marriage and immigration policies has created some really messed up situations.
Yeah.
Like I was reading about a gay couple that they had already like had this, they'd already done this once, like, I don't know, 5 years ago or something like that, where they went to Canada, they had a surrogate, they had like a son born in Canada, they were able to get him like a U.S. passport, no problem, come back into the United States, he's a U.S. citizen, no problem. Then fast forward a few years, and they try and do it again, have a daughter, and they're refused like a U.S. passport.
Oh, wow.
So they just figure like, okay, whatever, we really need to get back home. Like, let's just get the Canadian passport and we can sort this out after the fact.
Yeah.
And so, they do, and they get back and they start like trying to, get her nationalized, like, get her naturalized, get her to be a U.S. citizen because she's the daughter of 2 U.S. citizens.
Yes.
And like, there are all of these roadblocks now that basically it comes down to the fact that it is a same-sex marriage. And so it's not recognized as like a marriage. And so they don't get like the assumption of like,
is that just in their state?
I don't think it's, I think it was actually like a federal, policy.
Oh.
But it has to do with like naturalization, like citizenship.
Yeah.
And like it's I forget the exact term they used, but it was like the assumption of parentage, I think, something like that. And since they're not considered like a marriage, like a normal legitimate marriage, that, like they don't have the assumption of parentage. So as far as the law is concerned, or as far as immigration is concerned, that their child is a Canadian citizen.
That's crazy.
And like another case of like a woman who was trying to get married to another woman. Like, she was from, I think, actually North Carolina, but living in New York. Mm-hmm. And, she met a woman from Italy who was traveling to New York. They tried to get married. But she couldn't like get her fiance or girlfriend, whatever. She couldn't get her basically citizenship by marrying her. So she ended up going abroad for them to get married. Mm-hmm. Like they had, like they actually ended up having 2 children. Each one of them was inseminated, and each one of them gave birth to a child.
Okay.
But because, again, the marriage isn't recognized like in the eyes of immigration, the one born to the Italian woman is not considered a U.S. citizen, but the one born to the U.S. woman is a U.S. citizen. So it's like, I mean, just within this family, because I think they ended up settling in like England or something. Like just within this family, like you like she says, anytime they go like into the United States, she's having to like slap down a stack of like U.S. and Italian and British passports, and it's ridiculous. I mean, and this is a family, like 2 women and their 2 children.
Yeah,
and it's just, I mean, it's stuff like this that it's just, it's ridiculous. There's so many places now where same-sex marriage is recognized, but like at a federal level, like as far as like immigration is concerned, they're basically interpreting a bunch of stuff like really differently, because there was like an old thing like in, I think, like the 50s, talking about like natural birth or whatever from outside of the United States. Mm-hmm. Like children that are born outside of the United States getting citizenship. And then part of this whole like war against immigration, basically, they're trying to quote unquote close these loopholes or whatever. And they're trying to reinterpret that to say that, oh, well, surrogates don't count.
What? Well, why does family makeups have to be loopholes? Why can't it just be a family?
Well, and that's the thing. Like that's what it's, when it comes down to it. And I mean, I still believe this in a lot of cases. There are probably like on the whole, like same-sex couples that are happier than like normal hetero couples.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, if anything, they're going against societal expectation just to be together.
Yeah.
Whereas like with hetero, I can't help but imagine that there are definitely couples out there that are only really together because it's what's normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I don't know, we dated in high school, so we had to get married because that's what's normal.
Yeah. Or we got pregnant.
Or yeah, we got pregnant, so we had to get married. I mean, you don't have that in same-sex couples.
No.
Like, so
like
if anything, I would say on average, they probably are happier as a couple.
Yeah. I mean, they're fighting against like adversity.
Mm-hmm. Just to be
together. And where, I mean, I feel like maybe a lot of, I've been in relationships before where I felt like it's just easier just to stay in this relationship than to try and move on.
And like, I feel like that's true for almost anybody that's dated any number of people almost. Like,
yeah. And I'm happy I'm not in that situation now.
Right.
I consider myself very lucky because all of my other relationships were just a garbage fire. But
it's a very common thing. Like it's common enough that it's probably happened to the majority of people.
Yeah. At
least within hetero communities.
Oh yeah.
And furthermore, it kind of goes back to a point that we were doing, like, I guess it was last week. Like, how is it any of your business anyway?
Yeah, we were talking about this after. Like, why do you care? Why are you an asshole?
Yeah. It's just like, I mean, how does this even affect people? Like, and it's one thing, because part of this whole, like, push was about getting rid of so-called anchor babies. Like, people that get into the United States, birth a child in the United States, and so they're a U.S. citizen because they were born on U.S. soil.
Yeah.
Which, like, even trying to, like, get rid of that kind of seems ridiculous in and of itself to me.
Yeah.
But, like, in part and parcel, they're kind of getting rid of the opposite as well, and they're making it difficult, especially for non-traditional families, to have a child outside of the country and then have them be a U.S. citizen.
I don't know. It's just, it bothers me so much because so much time is wasted in the government. Mm-hmm. So much time is wasted. State level, federal level, doesn't matter. So much time is being wasted on these stupid fucking things that nobody should have any say who you have a relationship with, what you do with a fucking fertilized egg, embryo, whatever. Like, nobody should have any say in any of that. And we need to focus on shit like infrastructure. We need to focus on shit like developing new ways to have conservative energy
need to worry about economic concerns.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of problems with the economy. Like, and I'm not saying, we're in a recession or anything, because we're not. But that being said, it definitely could happen. Like, there are definitely some things going on that could lead to another recession if we don't actually address them.
Yeah. But I mean, that's just time wasted, money wasted, because the politicians, they're making money just sitting there fucking bullshitting about stuff that they shouldn't be talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Who gives a fuck? Like, who fucks who?
Yeah.
Like, man, there was another thing. This one lawmaker with this whole abortion thing, and I'm sorry I keep bringing up the abortion. I am really just upset.
I mean, as you should be.
And I'm hoping this isn't like triggering for anybody.
Well, and the thing is, like, a lot of this is all just political moves.
Yeah.
Like these states like Alabama and Georgia, they're only pushing these things now to basically try and like push their own agenda.
Yeah, like I was saying, like they're basically trying to keep people in poverty, which in turns creates too many people, so the school system can fail them. Because they don't want to teach them right.
Well, I mean, it's like what we had mentioned before, like with the Texas one, that supposedly, because of the way that Texas law works, would have had them eligible for the death penalty for doing abortions. But it's that kind of thing where they put no limits on it, no restrictions on it, to basically go overboard and overshoot it, like to try and like basically normalize the idea of just outlawing any kind of abortion, even if it has restrictions to it.
Yeah.
Like they're basically trying to haggle of sorts, where they overshoot what they want so they can compromise back down to what they actually want.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's just wrong. Like you shouldn't have that kind of thing going on in politics. I mean, that's fucking with people's lives.
Yeah. One of these anti-abortion lawmakers was like, oh, well, rape is like the coming of a storm. If you can't do anything about it, just try to enjoy it.
What?
Until it passes.
What?
Yes.
That is not even acceptable. Like, no. That is not an okay thing to say.
No, it's not. Like, that just makes my blood boil. Like, how the fuck can somebody say that? Like,
that is insane.
Yeah. Yeah. Fucking, like, if you're a Christian, if you're any religion and you believe that abortion is wrong, look into the shit that your politicians say. The politicians that you vote for, look into the shit that they say. Don't just look into their policy of anti-abortions and stuff like that. Look into the shit that they say. Do you want to be raped? Do you want your fucking children to be raped? Like, no, you don't.
To just try and enjoy it because it's happening?
Yeah, what the fuck? How can you support somebody that says that?
And, just to kind of point out how ridiculous that analogy is and how inappropriate it really is, let's go ahead and just kind of draw that out like a little further, shall we? So what you're saying is, since you want there to be no cases of abortion in those types of situations and rape and everything, so you're saying that if a storm comes and destroys your house, you need to just live in the rubble. You're not allowed to fix it.
Yeah, you're not allowed to claim it on insurance.
No, absolutely not, because it's just a thing that happens, so you have to deal with the consequences yourself.
Yep. If it's that black and white.
I mean, that's insane.
And I apologize if this is triggering to anybody.
It's triggering to me.
I don't know. I think everybody should have rights to their own body, no matter what their sex, race, anything is. Like, we should all, this entire country, we should all have equal rights.
Absolutely. That's the entire point. Like, whether or not it's what the founding fathers actually thought, that's what was written.
Yeah. And like, I mean, Schoolhouse Rock was before our time, but
yeah, a little bit. Like, we kind of got the tail end.
Yeah, we did get the tail end. But like one of the big things that stood out to me when I was a kid was fucking the U.S. is a melting pot of immigration.
Oh yeah, I mean,
what happened to that? I was even taught that, but fucking.
But that's the truth. Like, this country was built on immigrants.
And like they're like, oh, the boats are coming in with more people, and everybody's welcoming them to come in to become citizens and everything like that. What happened to that?
People act like, oh well, my family's been here for like 8 generations, so like immigration has nothing to do with me anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, really, 8 generations isn't even that long.
Yeah. I mean, fucking even our president, he comes from immigrants.
I mean, it's like,
we all most of us do.
It's like, if you really want to go further, it's like, so how do you justify the way we treated like the Native Americans?
Yeah,
because they have more right to be here than we did.
They do, and they're still getting fucked over.
And even they were immigrants technically.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's no race, there's no people that are absolutely 100% native to this area.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't exist. Like, people didn't sprout out of the ground here.
Mm-mm.
Like, every single person that's here is here because their ancestors traveled here from someplace.
Yeah. I mean, why can't we continue that? Why can't we keep abortion to keep a population that's not, I mean, it sucks to say this, that it's not wanted, not needed.
Mm-hmm.
People are being born that don't necessarily need to be born.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of harsh to say.
I mean, it is kind of harsh to say, but at a certain point, and we're not really to this point currently, but at a certain point, like, population control is a very important problem. Like, overpopulation can be a very, very serious issue.
Yeah.
And just in general, like the world at large, we probably are overpopulated.
Yeah. With overpopulation, it kind of brings me to this one conspiracy theory. I don't necessarily believe it or anything like that. But okay, so, and I mostly saw this pushed on conservative media, conservative conspiracy theorists and stuff like that about the Denver airport was a big part of that, and FEMA camps for control population, like under the Denver airport. There's like all these huge giant rooms underground to it's a prison. Like the fence is like got the barbed wire coming in to keep people in, not keep people out.
Right.
Or the razor wire, barbed wire, whatever around the thing. I mean, even they were like, oh well, the runways make a swastika. Like there's a bunch of shit involved with that. And I mean I've learned myself not to just believe conspiracy theories and everything, but like the conservative conspiracy theorists and media. I want to say, what's that one dude that gets really angry and he tries to push his fucking like pills and powders and all that kind of shit. Oh,
you're talking about
Alex Jones? Is that Alex?
That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. But, he was one of the people pushing this. And, the thing is, like, they're like, oh, they're gonna control the population by gathering us all up, put us in FEMA camps and gassing us and all this kind of shit. And, but then, like, the people that are believing this shit are like, no, we can't have an abortion. We can't have abortions. But that's causing overpopulation, is people having unwanted babies because of the laws.
Mm-hmm.
And,
I mean, it's just kind of ridiculous that in the land of freedom, we're working so hard to take away freedoms.
Yeah. I mean, that's what a lot of time and money wasted in the government is doing, is worrying about shit that shouldn't be worried about. That's our tax dollars going to pay for their salaries and everything while they're in office, and in some cases after they're out of office.
Yeah.
Paying their pension.
Mm-hmm.
When all they did was spend time trying to tell you what you can't do, rather than try and fix the things that you need to live, to fix the things that make our society better.
And all the while, they get paid pretty heftily for getting to control the country the way that they want that benefits them.
Yeah. And people just blindly vote. And it's on both sides. People blindly vote. Oh, I'm a Democrat. I've always been a Democrat. I'm a Republican. I've always been a Republican. I'm going to vote Republican.
Like I would dare say, and I mean, this is absolutely not a statistic that I've seen, but I would dare say that the majority of people that vote straight party don't even know what their party stands for anymore.
No.
They know the buzzwords.
Oh, yeah.
But they don't know what the party actually stands for.
Oh, he called them a cuck.
Yeah.
Because that's, I don't know how that became a thing.
It became a thing because of 4chan.
Oh, okay. Fuck 4chan.
Generally, any kind of horrible saying becomes a thing because of 4chan.
Yeah.
But no, it became a really, really big thing on 4chan to just use cuck as like a general insult.
Yeah. One Republican I know, I'm not going to say who it is, or anything, but, like, I see that in like the different conservative places, like they'll use cuck, like people in the comments will be like, oh, it's just a cuck and blah 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 blah. And then I'm on the phone with somebody like I respect, you know, but they're like, have you ever heard of the word cuck? I'm like, yeah. Well, it's this, and I'm like, I don't care. Like, you can use it. I don't, whatever. It's just, I'm like, why the fuck am I talking to you?
Yeah. Yeah, no, like that's not the kind of person I would want to talk to.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, they get stuck on buzzwords and like, lock her up. That's a big buzzword. Still going on.
Yeah.
Even though, yeah, whatever. And
it's just, and I mean, that's so much of what campaigning even is anymore. And it's messed up.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about campaigning on the issues or what you are going to do in office, which, I mean, at this point, like, there's almost no guarantees saying that anything that they say is going to happen.
Yeah.
But it's all just like getting buzzwords to stick and getting people to vote for you based on buzzwords.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I like Bernie. I also like Beto.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's not out there fucking, and Kamala Harris too. They're not out there
and see that's
going off of these fucking horrendous buzzwords and running their whole campaign on hate.
But see, that in and of itself is part of the problem, I think. Because especially when you have only two parties, like, it comes down to us versus them. Or like the Democrats versus the Republicans, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Right now, there is almost nothing that's going to keep the current sitting president from rerunning.
Oh, yeah.
And there's almost nothing that will prevent him from having unilateral support within the Republican Party.
Yeah.
The Democrats especially have been very, very bad at rallying behind whoever their candidate is.
Yeah, there's so many right now.
With so many on the field right now, I can't help it. You're going to have the same problem all over again, where no matter who they nominate, the party's just not going to like actually get behind them.
Yeah.
And so it becomes so much more about how much your party can gel than what your candidate actually means to the American people.
Yeah.
Like, which is so messed up and it's so backwards. And like, we're never, like, I don't think we're ever really going to get away from that as long as there are only two parties.
Yeah. And that's like Bernie was independent until he hopped on the Democratic cartel, basically.
Right.
To try and get elected. But I mean, he still keeps his what he wants to do, his policies and everything, which I agree with a lot of stuff he has to say.
I mean, if I had my way, there'd be no parties at all.
Yeah.
But we at least need a viable third party if any of this stuff is going to get better.
We do. I do wish that Bernie Sanders would have run independent last election. I think he could have had a chance. Just like Ross Perot had a chance.
Yeah. A really, really slim chance, but he had a chance.
Yeah. But like just like with Ross Perot, that split the vote.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it split the vote to where Bill Clinton won, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ross Perot split the Republican vote.
Yeah. And then this time around, or this last time around, Bernie Sanders basically split the Democratic vote.
I mean, that's not entirely true. He wasn't actually running.
No, I'm saying, like, a lot of people didn't vote for Hillary because Bernie didn't make it. Like, more people would have voted for Bernie than they would have for Hillary, I think.
Well, no, that's absolutely true. But I think it had less to do with the fact that Bernie was even
it's a different situation, but like
more to do with the fact that Hillary is just generally unlikable.
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of problems with the older Democrats and Republicans. Like somebody asked me like a few weeks ago, oh, what about Nancy Pelosi? I was like, I would never vote for her for president. No, I will not. She's part of the problem.
But it's like, I don't know. When it really comes down to it, like, as long as party politics continue, like, we're never going to have a real open and free election.
Yeah.
We're never going to have a government that actually functions. Like, it's all going to be like backroom dealings and deal making and just trying to do whatever it takes to get your agenda fulfilled.
Yeah.
And whatever the American people want is something else entirely.
Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, Trump's going to be unopposed on the Republican side. Mm-hmm. And then, like, I don't see it happening. Like, to me, just logically, it doesn't make sense for Biden to get the Democratic vote to run for president.
Yeah, no.
But shit, if he did, I wouldn't vote for him. I just wouldn't. And that sucks, because I mean, I don't know.
And furthermore, you know, while we're on the topic of like elections, we really, really need to do something about the Electoral College.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I totally get what people are complaining about like, oh, well, you know, if you do away with the Electoral College, then states like New York or California are going to basically run the entire vote because of the fact that they just have more people and the Electoral College limits them so that their vote doesn't really count more than other states.
Yeah.
Well,
but
as it is, like the American people's vote doesn't really count.
Yep, because the Electoral College only lets the rural regions of this country have a say on who becomes president.
Mm-hmm.
And those rural regions are typically Christian, religious.
Well, the thing is, like...
And Republican. That's why they don't want it.
Well, the thing is, if we were to actually do what's needed with the government and get the federal, like, control under control, like, the federal government doesn't need to be controlling every little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, states' rights need to be inflated. Like, the states actually need to have more control of what goes on locally. And we need to actually get rid of the Electoral College so that we can actually have a functioning federal government that doesn't just oversee everything. And it's not like, well, whatever the people in California wanted is overruling anything that like the people in like Nebraska wanted or whatever.
Yeah.
Because like, as it is right now, it's all basically just a game. Like, they only campaign in certain states because they know that they already have other states.
Yeah.
Like, nobody campaigns in California because it's a waste of time.
Yeah.
Like, you only campaign in states that could go either way.
Yeah.
And so are you really saying that it's better to have those few states be the ones that decide rather than, say, California and New York?
Yeah.
I mean, either way, you're having a couple of states decide the whole thing. So, I mean, if that's really your concern, then what does it matter?
Yeah. And the thing is, like, I feel like the majority of people should have the president that they voted for, not the minority of people. Or,
right.
Like, I mean, there's only two sets of numbers because there's only two fucking sides that matter.
Right.
But like, less people voted for Trump. More people voted for Hillary. And now, I mean, there's the whole like, oh, well, voter fraud. They're fucking putting people that are dead on the ballot and shit like that, which has not been proven.
No.
That's just another conservative fucking shit that they shill out.
When it comes down to it, like, states' rights would go so much further to actually serving the needs of rural areas than the Electoral College does currently.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, the federal government should be worrying about national things, and the states worrying about itself. Like, right. We don't need this micromanaging bullshit.
Right.
Like, you don't enjoy micromanaging in your job.
No,
you don't like to be micromanaged. The people listen.
Nobody does. There are people that enjoy micromanaging.
Well, the people that are doing it.
But yeah, like, you don't want your boss constantly leaning over your shoulder, just being like, oh, no, you need to do it this way.
Yeah. Like, if you don't want that in your job, you don't want somebody to be fucking watching every single thing that you do and being fucking annoying. Like, why do you want the government to do that?
Yeah. I mean, when it really comes down to it, like, the states are going to be better at officiating their concerns than the federal government will be.
Yeah. And with that, more people need to go out and vote.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't want fucking lawmakers making abortion illegal, go and vote. Get them out of office.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of them. I mean, I'm afraid that okay, so Georgia, big abortion ban. Alabama, big abortion ban. Fucking North Carolina, they fucking ban fucking transgender people going into the bathroom that they're supposed to go into.
Jeez, that whole problem.
I mean, you got here in South Carolina, you got fucking people that recently they passed that gay marriage is banned now here in South Carolina. And like, we don't need that. I feel like abortion's going to be next. I don't even know the abortion laws for South Carolina or North Carolina. But I mean, it's fucking working its way around here. It's working its way around. People are fucking all for it. But if you're not for it, go and get these motherfuckers out of office. Lindsey Graham doesn't need to be in any part of the government.
No, I can agree with that. I don't like him. He's absolutely too much of a party slave and just a general pushover.
Yeah.
Like, whatever the Republican Party is doing, that's what he's doing.
Yeah. There's one guy that's running. Jamie Harrison. He's an exploratory candidate for U.S. Senate versus Lindsey Graham.
Mm-hmm.
And I followed him on Twitter, and I've been trying to keep up with him. Because I mean, a lot of the stuff with senators and everything, they you don't really see a whole lot about it. Like, the big thing is usually the presidential candidates and everything.
Right, but I mean, all these elections are important.
Yeah.
Like, presidential is not the only one that's important.
Yeah. Like do your research. Like, everybody's going to know everything about the presidential candidates.
Mm-hmm.
And the Democratic candidates, the Republican candidates, which is just going to be Trump this time around. But I think,
I mean, there's almost nothing stopping that.
I don't understand his following. Like, I don't understand. I mean, he basically is just use social media and trolled to just name recognition mostly.
Yeah.
And people don't actually do their research into the things that he's actually done, like the person that he actually is, and just believe that he's this great guy and believes everything that he says, and even fucking just goes with it when they know that he's lying, because they say that shit too.
Yeah.
But look at your fucking state, look at your county, look at your city. Look at all the people that are running on both sides. Independents, fucking Green Party, doesn't matter. Like, look at everybody. Look at their credentials. Look at what they have to say. Because I mean, this last election where we voted for local stuff, I was looking into it, and like, the Republican candidate, he was just fucking, like, the shit that he had on there, he didn't have any like real credentials or anything for the position that he was running for. It was for like agricultural, like the head of the agricultural department or whatever for our county or state or something. And he had a business degree in business or whatever. He had a bachelor's in business or some shit like that. Like, not even anything. The guy running against him in the Green Party had a fucking doctorate in agriculture, and he'd been doing stuff in agricultural since what's the high school stuff?
Oh, you mean like 4-H?
Yeah, 4-H. Like he was doing stuff in 4-H and like won all kinds of fucking medals and shit for like with milk from cows and like all kinds of crazy shit. Like has all these credentials and he lays out everything he wants to do for the state.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't even come close to winning. The guy that was like, well, I'm a farmer just like you. That was basically his pitch. But because this state, they vote for Republicans blindly, they didn't even bother to look at the other candidates. They just hit that fucking Republican button.
Mm-hmm.
They probably don't even know the guy that they voted for. They don't even know his name.
And it's just, all levels of government are important. Like every position that you vote for is important. It may not even affect you directly, but it is important that you be informed and that you make a decision that fits with your ideals.
Yeah. And people are voting for people like that. And now in the news all over the place, the farmers are pissed off.
Oh yeah.
Because they're losing money.
Well, and they should be because seriously, with the economic policies that have been going in the past few years, like they're going to be losing money hand over fist.
Yeah. It's just, it's nonstop. It's just nonstop. And people need to open their eyes. People need to fucking use their goddamn brain, use their eyes, use their fingers, tap on your phone. We all have a computer in our pocket. You can walk a mile, like not even, you could walk probably 5 feet and be on Wi-Fi somewhere.
Just about.
Unless you're out in the middle of nowhere. And then if you are, like, you probably have fucking internet. Some form, but we have computers in our pockets. Use it for something other than fucking emojis and fucking tweets and like research. Like look up stuff on the people that you're voting for.
Yeah.
You'll be surprised at how you probably aren't for them anymore.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, especially like when you talk about like incumbents and stuff, often like they don't really bring anything to the table. Like usually their whole platform is just like, oh, well, you've already voted for me before, so you're going to vote for me again. So here's some platitudes. Just some really like, can't think of the word now.
Oh.
For some reason, I really just cannot think of the word right now.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't even know what platitudes
like
means.
When something is like just run into the ground, like you say it all the time. Like
redundant?
No.
Or
like cliche.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Like, I mean, it's just like, here's a bunch of like really cliche things to say. Just, vote for me again because you already did.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause that's something that I've noticed a lot about Republican candidates is they repeat buzzwords. They repeat the buzzwords that people want to hear. And even more so since Trump won, because that's all he did. He would ramble on and then throw in a buzzword. Ramble on like fucking geriatric fuck and then say a buzzword. And people would go fucking nuts.
Yeah.
And they still are. He's still doing it now. And I don't see how people don't see through that. Like people that I know that I consider to be intelligent people overall are just completely they've got Fox News brain.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. They're told that everything is a lie except for what Fox News is telling them. They have Fox News brain. That's what it is. The conservative media brain.
It's a problem.
Yeah.
And I mean, really anything like just relying on a single source of information is not good.
Yeah.
No matter what the source is.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, don't just read one thing and assume that it's the entire truth. Like, try and read a couple of things about it. Like, look into it a little further than just, the same place that you get all of your news from all the time.
Yeah. That's a nicer way to put it than I did.
Yeah, it's a problem. There's no quick solution.
Yeah.
And it takes people wanting to fix the problem.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't see the problem, but they're happy to complain about stuff that, I mean, they could help in fixing.
Mm-hmm.
If they did a little research and voted for the people that are qualified, actually. Like,
mm-hmm.
whether they're the right people or not, that's to be determined, really.
Right.
But the people that are actually qualified.
When people don't go through with the things that they say they're going to do, when people like go against what works for their constituents, when people are obviously acting in the interests of the party over the interests of their constituents, like, you need to vote them out.
Yeah.
Like, you need to actually, like, call them out on it by not electing them again.
Yeah. And hell, like, if somebody listen to this, you might be the person. If you're like, well, shit, this needs to fucking stop, you might be the person that needs to work your way up to that.
Yeah.
We need better politicians. We need new politicians.
Absolutely.
I mean, with my social anxiety and everything, I could never do that. Hell, I would be cussing all the time. I'd be fucking yelling at people.
If I've learned anything, that might actually get you elected.
Yeah, for real. I mean, because I don't know. I come off really harsh a lot of times, just because, like, the way the way I think of what I say isn't interpreted the way that I'm thinking it.
Right.
Like somebody's like, well, I don't want you to, like, think differently of me. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck about you. Like that, like that. That's the first thing that comes to my mind that comes out. Like, I don't have that much of a filter when it comes to that stuff. But to me, I'm like, well, I don't give a fuck about, like, you being this way or anything like that. That's what I should say. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, I don't give a fuck about you. Like, you're, but it's not that I don't care about them or anything like that. It's just that that doesn't bother me. Like, I don't give a fuck. But that's how I come off. Like, when I'm saying, like, well, use your fucking brain and do some research. Like, I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm not saying anybody's stupid. I'm just like, like, just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't just follow shit blindly. Like, just do it. Don't listen to what we have to say. Like, fucking fact check us.
Absolutely. Like, I'm not saying, like, everything I say is always right. And if anything that I say is wrong, or if you have a different opinion, let us know. Like,
yeah. Hell, last week when we were talking DC Comics, I was all sorts of wrong because I had different stories kind of just mishmashed, like, in there together. Like, I was talking about Young Justice and about the thing, but I was remembering stories from Superboy and the Ravers that ended, like, right around the same time Young Justice started, so it just kind of meshed together for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Pink Kryptonite thing.
Yeah.
There's actually no proof. Like, there's no actual Pink Kryptonite. It was just mentioned one time in a Supergirl comic.
Oh, wow.
Like, they were at a party, and this woman is talking to Supergirl and is like, well, I wonder what it would be like for Superman to, or no, she's saying something, and then Supergirl's like, well, if he had pink kryptonite, I don't remember, but then it shows Superman talking to somebody else, and it like emphasizes the word fabulous that he says, and and something like that.
Because only gay people use the word fabulous.
Yeah, like comics have been very derogatory, like, over the years.
Well, especially early on, it was definitely a lot worse.
90s was very sexist. Going back and reading 90s some comics
very sexist. Yeah, it did. Like, it's gotten a lot better in recent years.
Yeah.
Like, they both have done a lot to try and diversify the comics in general.
Yeah.
Like, be a lot more inclusive of various different backgrounds and people of different races or nationalities and things like that.
And the MCU's trying to do that too in the cinematic
right
part
and
of it
I mean,
well.
I know that's a big thing that they were pushing for. Like, in the Ultimate Comics, they kind of did that, like, with Miles Morales in the first place. Mm-hmm. Like, recently in the main stuff, they've done a lot of that with just various characters. Like, you have, like, Kamala Khan being like Miss Marvel, but not like Carol Danvers Miss Marvel, like completely different. She actually has powers that are more similar to Mr. Fantastic, kind of.
Yeah.
But I want to say she's like Pakistani American, maybe.
Okay.
But like where they made Amadeus Cho, like Hulk.
Yeah. And he's gay, right?
Mm-hmm. No, he's not.
Oh, I thought he was.
No.
I thought somebody told me he was. I never actually read the comics.
But I mean, it's like stuff like that, like, you know, having a black Captain America.
Yeah.
Like, cause for a while Sam Wilson was going around as Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it's like all kinds of things like that are like starting to diversify and kind of reach out and like kind of, you know, address this whole thing to everybody. So everybody has superheroes that they can relate to.
Yeah.
Like not just, you know, white, like males.
Yeah. And it's been tried before. I mean, look at Black Panther. Like Black Panther's old.
Oh yeah. Black Panther's old. And like in a way it was kind of like a nod or like an embodiment sort of like the Black Panthers, like the idea of like the whole civil rights movement.
Yeah.
But it's like there were so few and far between, and really Black Panther was a very minor character until more recently.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're really starting to see more of that push.
Comics have come a long way.
In general.
But I mean, they've changed with the times. Like we had what comics really started in a very oppressive United States. And I don't know about other countries really. I don't know a lot about their oppressive histories other than like the Nazis with World War II and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But we could talk about this for forever.
Yeah, we could do an entire other episode right now just on that. But we don't really have time for that.
Yeah. So we mentioned earlier Anonymous from Inanimate podcast. She's going to be joining us on the D&D podcast, but she does have a podcast right now. Like I said earlier, Inanimate, and she's our sister podcast. We're doing promos with her, and we want you to stick around, like listen to that awesome music, and and stick around and listen to hers and go and check her out. I will put a link in the description to go check her out. And I mean, she tells stories of stuff that's happened in her life. She even does like knowledge stuff. Like she just drops some knowledge on you about like music, classical music, and like the history behind different composers and everything over the years. I thought that was a really interesting episode where it's like, I think that episode was called I'm Bach or something like that. And this past week, I think was one of my favorite episodes because it went into some like where we talked about UFOs and stuff. She goes into a little bit with that as well, and I thought that was kind of cool. And but yeah, I mean, you'll learn something or you'll hear an interesting story, and I think it's a really great podcast. It's not as long as ours, so it's more digestible than what we do.
It's probably a good thing, right?
Yeah, it's probably a good thing. We just can't seem to rein it in, because we do have so much to talk about.
And inevitably, whenever we stop recording, we still talk another hour.
Oh God, yeah. But yeah. Stick around and listen to her promo and go check out her podcast. Go download them all.
Yeah, definitely. But that is all that we have for this week. So thanks for joining us, and we hope to have you again next week when we have something more to podcast.
you enjoyed this episode of Something More to Podcast. I'm the host of the Anonymous podcast, Anonymous. I'm an author, musician, and artist living in Vancouver, BC, Canada. Anonymous is a podcast that's part memoir, part journal, part lecture. Come join me every Friday as I delve into random topics. Available wherever podcasts are found.